Ladies and gentlemen, if everyone could please take their seats. Thank you. It is now time for us to share one of the greatest highlights of every year for the USSSA. To be nominated, elected, and then inducted into the USSSA National Hall of Fame is the highest honor that can be bestowed upon any player, coach, umpire, sponsor, director, or other participant in the USSSA program. It is a rare honor reserved for a select few who have impacted the game in the most significant ways. The first USSSA Hall of Fame induction ceremony was conducted at the 1979 National Meeting. So tonight will be our 36th class of inductees. As of this date, 196 individuals have received this distinguished honor. Several of our Hall of Fame members are with us tonight, and their presence is one of the things that makes this evening so special. So I'd like to begin tonight's ceremony by recognizing those Hall of Famers who are in attendance. So at this time, would all of the members of the Hall of Fame who are here with us please stand? I'd also just like to let all of the Hall of Famers know that at the conclusion of tonight's event, there will be a special reception up on the top floor in the Eagles View room for all of you to welcome the newest members of the Hall of Fame. Tonight, 6 more individuals will join this very elite group. Upon their introduction and induction, each inductee will be presented a framed certificate of induction, a Hall of Fame ring, and a specially engraved Hall of Fame bat that's provided by Worth Sports. We're delighted to be able to present them with those, and we thank Worth Sports for their support of tonight and for providing the bats. So now, without further ado, let's get the induction ceremony underway. Our first inductee tonight is in the female player category. She hails from Austin, Texas, and she is Ms. Lisa Sanchez. Now I would ask everyone to turn their attention to the video screens that appear behind me and to the sides, and we'll all have a chance to learn a little bit more about Lisa's incredible softball career.
When I started playing, I was 6 years old. My parents were heavily involved in playing softball, competitive, in Austin. And so from there, I just kind of started picking up the game. And I just remember them being so competitive. There's a number of people, it just wasn't one person. My parents, primarily at first, just the fact that I was a workaholic as far as practicing. I always wanted to practice, so they were there constantly. The coaches that I've had in my previous teams, and then my teammates, to see how competitive and eager they were to get on the field and to push each other. You know, all of them, I just would take notes. For me, it's always just been just the grind, you know, of playing, and the fact that we all stuck together and finally made it happen. And to me, that's one of the most memorable. It wasn't a play, it wasn't a hit. Wasn't who showed up to play, who didn't, just the fact that we finally as a team made it and were able to accomplish to get a victory. First one for USSSA, for me, our first World Series, was in the late 80s. That was the first one as a team and that I got to experience, where we finally just, everything clicked together as a team. It was just the overall experience of it being USSSA, the amount of teams that were there, level of competition, you know, some of the elite players that are part of the Hall of Fame group. It's an honor. There are so many elite players that are already inducted now that I played against, and then some of them were my teammates. And just to think that my name is going to be categorized right with them is just an awesome experience.
And now to tell us a little bit more about Lisa, here's her former coach with the Austin Classics, Miss Nada Brown.
Good evening. I was just saying a minute ago, I just love being first. So, the bar's pretty low at this point, I guess. It's a privilege to be part of this wonderful evening with so many talented and successful individuals who have achieved the pinnacle of their sport. It's even a greater honor, though, to be here to present Lisa and to be able to celebrate all her many accomplishments with her. I was very blessed to have had the opportunity and the pleasure to be Lisa's coach for a few years early in her exceptional career. The first time I saw Lisa play, she was a young teenager just starting out, but I knew from first sight she was a special talent. Her recognition tonight certainly validates what I knew so many years ago. One of the things they told us as presenters was not spend a whole lot of time talking about the athletic achievements because that was already going to be done. I was kind of glad to hear that because to me, what makes Lisa special transcends her sports accomplishments. To me, Lisa is special because of the person that she is beyond the star athlete. Not long after Lisa joined our team, we were playing a game against a men's team. Our women's team had entered a men's league to get a little bit more competition. Probably from the frustration of losing to a girls' team, one of the guys decided to take Lisa out during a routine double play. As a result, her knee was severely injured and she was done for the year. It was a devastating blow, both to Lisa and to the team, and we could see our chances for success go down with her. So, what did Lisa do? Let me tell you what she didn't do. She didn't pout, she didn't cry. I'm pretty sure I did plenty of those for both of us, but she didn't say, "Why me?" Instead, she did what a great teammate does. She supported her team at every practice, at every game, and embraced with joy every team's success without reservation or jealousy. Our team ended up having a very successful year to a large degree because one young woman showed all of us what character and team is all about. So tonight, as we celebrate Lisa's success as a ball player, let's especially applaud her success as a person and a teammate. Let's applaud her hard work, her leadership, her perseverance, her selflessness, her commitment, her courage, and her passion. Let's remember what she has so aptly demonstrated throughout her career, that character is the foundation of all worthwhile success, and that the main ingredient of stardom is the rest of the team. On behalf of all of Lisa's teammates, coaches, family, and friends, it is my great honor and privilege to present to you my teammate and friend, Lisa Sanchez.
Wow. Very nice, Nada. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I would like to take this time to thank several special people that have made this great honor possible. First, thank you to USSSA for the time, dedication, and commitment that the association gives to athletes throughout the nation. I am truly grateful and blessed to stand before you, receiving this prestigious recognition. As each of us knows, softball is a team sport. I would not be able to stand before you receiving this award if it were not for the talented players that I was privileged enough to play alongside, and to my coaches for their knowledge and commitment in guiding me throughout my years. There are 3 important members in my softball career that have provided me the guidance and support to play a sport I fell in love with at the age of 14 and learned to craft as I grew older. My first softball coach, Nada Brown, saw something in me and took a chance on a young 16-year-old and giving me the opportunity to join her women's competitive traveling team. It's here that the desire to compete at a national level began. I have great respect for you, Nada, as a coach, because you were determined to bring out the best in your players. Your time and devotion to the team and your players did not go unnoticed by me. I thank you, Nada, for seeing the potential in me and helping me begin my softball career. He is no longer with us, but I would like to recognize Mr. Morris Cannon. I have great respect and honor for Mr. Cannon. I would like to thank him his support, not only in sponsorship, but also for his commitment to women's softball. He helped change women's softball in South Texas in the late 80s and well into the 90s. I thank you, Mr. Cannon, from the bottom of my heart for all your support. Most important of all, I would like to thank my parents, Pete and Cynthia Sanchez. Both of you sacrificed your softball careers to allow me to fulfill my dream of playing at a national level. From every practice to every tournament, and believe it or not, every game, my parents were there to support me. From the first time I stepped on the field at Thorpe Little League in Austin, Texas, to the last time I hung my glove at the 2002 World Series at Stradley Park in Florida, my parents were there every step of the way. Throughout my career, I was fortunate enough to have my father as one of my coaches. Most of us know that parents are always harder on their children, especially when they coach you. Well, that is also true in my case. And Dad, I thank you for making me a stronger person. My parents instilled in me at a young age the drive and passion to give my best in anything that I set my mind to do. Their relentless devotion in supporting me through my ups and downs has led me to stand before you tonight. I look back now and appreciate that drive you instilled in me more than I could probably ever express to you, Mom and Dad. I receive this award not only for myself, but on behalf of my parents, because this truly is a family commitment and a family recognition. I love you, Mom and Dad. Thank you both for your love and devotion to my softball career. On behalf of my family, we give a sincere thank you, and I do mean a sincere thank you, to USSSA and the selection committee for this prestigious award. Thank you.
With this plaque, I will read what it says. United States Specialty Sports Association Hall of Fame, to whom it may concern, this witness that Lisa Marie Sanchez, upon the nomination of the National Hall of Fame Election Committee and election by the governing body of the United States Specialty Sports Association, is hereby inducted as a member of the United States Specialty Sports Association Hall of Fame. Inducted on the 20th day of November in the year 2015. Congratulations.
Our second inductee tonight is also in the female player category. She is from nearby Tustin, California, and she is Miss Caitlin Lowe. I would now ask that everyone turn their attentions to the video screens so we can learn a little bit more about Caitlin's illustrious softball career.
Well, it was definitely my parents that got me started in softball. My dad was a huge baseball fan. I grew up watching the Yankees, the Dodgers, because my mom loved the Dodgers. But he was so good about taking us to games and teaching us about sports from a very early age. I think the competition really, and growing up with my siblings, we were so competitive with everything, and we still are. Whether it's ping pong or softball, we're out there to win, and we just love the feeling of competing. When something gets hit into the air, it's not going to drop, and it's just that feeling that you have, and everybody on our team has that. We're going to win this game at any and all costs, and it's what we prepared our entire lives for. So at that point, it just becomes natural part of the game. Well, outside of the pride, I would probably say the championships. It's such a coach answer, but the accumulation of all the hard work, and you don't know it at the time, you just kind of trust in the process, but once it all comes together for that one moment, it's completely indescribable. I mean, even the moments with the pride, I would say the same thing. You work so hard and your teammates work so hard, and to see everyone come together at that one moment is the most fulfilling thing in softball. I think the coolest part about being in the NPF from kind of the beginning stages until now is that we've gotten to see it change from day one until present day, where I feel like we're so in a good place. And now that when rookies step into the NPF, I mean, they get drafted, it's streamed, it's such a cool experience now. They get to use social media to tweet about being drafted as a professional athlete, and to me that's so rewarding and so cool to be able to say that I was just a small part in building that. Yes, it's very cool to now see people and they actually use USSSA Pride. Oh, hey, you played for the USSSA Pride. Oh, you play in the NPF, that's so awesome. It's so awesome that you're a professional softball player. So back in the day, it used to be like, oh, professional softball, they have that, it's just cool to see where it's evolved. Well, to me, being a part of the USSSA Pride it's been an honor, and really, it doesn't feel like a business, it feels like a family. And everyone has such a great passion, not just for the sport, but for each other and the work that we do. So I think that, it's not just the USSSA Pride, it's USSSA as an organization. And for me to be even just a small piece, it's been pretty cool. I think it's unbelievably exciting to look at where the future's going for the NPF. From day one, we didn't have a bunch of stable teams here, and now we have fields in the NPF that are dedicated to professional fast pitch. We have championships that are on TV. We're so moving in the right direction, and it's popular. It's carrying over from the college game. So to be able to see 12, 14, 15 teams in the NPF is the dream, and I know we're going to get there one day.
And now to tell us a little bit more about Caitlin, I am pleased to introduce our host for the week, man who helped make the USSSA Pride a reality, the president and CEO of USSSA, Mr. Don DiDonatis.
Thank you. It always gives me a pleasure to talk about it, to induct a member of the USSSA family into the USSSA Hall of Fame. What do I say about the newest member, Caitlin Lowe? Where do I begin? It's hard to put into words how she played the game. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's all take a moment to watch a short video that will surely illustrate all the words that I am so humbly searching for. Well, tonight, Caitlin, I am honored in introducing you and presenting you as the first professional women athlete to be inducted in the 48-year history of the USSSA Hall of Fame, and actually are the first person ever to have their jersey number retired as well. From this day forward, no Pride player or other women that is involved with USSSA in the Pro League will ever wear the number 26. Tonight, I am reading a letter written to you from the USSSA family. My intent is to honor you the same humble manner in which you retired. Dear Caitlin, when we took over the team 7 years ago, it was you along with Olympian Kelly Kretschmann that I was hoping to build a team around. I intended to build a solid foundation with the future of the USSSA fast pitch program, so we could grow and prosper to achieve heights that only we could have dreamed of attaining. You have been instrumental in the success of all we have achieved. You have led us by example. Your quiet leadership, your desire to leave it all on the field, the fact you have given 100% of yourself to everyone in your life is self-evident. You are a true leader, a quiet motivator, and you were always about showing your teammates how amazing they were. You were a game changer. You set the standard for speed. You played the game with the same way, whether the score was 15-0 or 0-15. In your 6th season with the Pride, you led us to 3 regular season championships and 3 Cows Cup championships. You were selected to the 2012, 13, and 14 All-NPF team. In 2012, you led the league in hitting with a record .454 batting average and were voted unanimously as the NPF Player of the Year. 2013, you also captured the NPF Diamond Spikes Award, swiping 17 bases. All of these accomplishments in the NPF were no surprise. You being one of the most decorated athletes in NCAA history, at the University of Arizona, you pretty much received every title there is, from your freshman year being the newcomer of the league for the Pac-12, or Pac-10 at the time, to your senior year, capturing the Lowe's Senior Class Award, and in between, setting records, batting average, stolen bases, no errors, and of course, your 4 years as a first-team All-American and 2 NCAA championships. You are arguably one of the best athletes that have ever been at the University of Arizona. Coach Mike Candrea is quoted as saying, "You played all out all the time and played like a giant." To that, I can also attest. The University of Arizona and its softball program is lucky to have you as a full-time, knowing that your philosophy, your love of the game, continues well beyond your professional playing years is a blessing to all benefit from having you in their lives. Our best always, your USSSA family. Caitlin, you decided to retire from the professional softball at the end of the 2014 NPF season, but didn't officially announce it to your retirement until February of 2015, and you did it the same way you played the game, with extreme passion and respect. You chose to announce it your way and on your terms. You inspired us all, and yes, we do owe you something. We owe you the gratitude and the respect you deserve for giving us so much. Thank you for playing the game the right way. Thank you for setting the standard, and thank you for giving USSSA so much of your heart. You leave your legacy here tonight, Caitlin, and I thank you for allowing me, for all of us, for a chance to be a part of it. We got to experience something special. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pride and pleasure to introduce you to the new member of the women's category, Caitlin Lowe.
Thank you. You know, Don's been making me cry for the last year. He keeps having these dinners, these ceremonies. but I do have a bone to pick with you because I dropped the ball in that one catch. That wasn't supposed to make the video, so.
That's burning.
That never happens. I do want to say thank you to Dawn. And when I thought about who was going to introduce me tonight, I first went to my teammates and I'm like, they have too many stories. I'm not sure what they're going to say up here. So I thought better of it. But really, I wouldn't be up here today if it wasn't for Dawn, if it wasn't for the passion that he has for USSSA, but also the MPF. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I grew up in a world where female professional athletes were pretty rare. There were some, but usually we had the males to look up to. I grew up watching Major League Baseball, and as any T-baller could attest to, I wanted to play center field for the New York Yankees. That was my dream. Didn't quite happen. But every 4 years, there were the lucky few that got to be a part of the Olympic team. But normally, at 22 years old, most of the female athletes in college softball retired. And that, to me, is very sad. They retired before they truly reached their full potential. And it didn't even feel like it was really attainable to grow up wanting to play professional sports as a female athlete. Today, I am so incredibly humbled to be the first person up here as a professional female athlete for fast pitch softball going into the Hall of Fame. I'm so honored for that. And I sat down to write this speech and I was like, this is completely impossible because it has so very little to do with me and so much to do with a group of extremely passionate people that not only had the dream of a successful pro league, but something that was going to thrive, something that little girls could look up to. And trust me when I say, I can remember the first day of Pride practice and a Pride game, and I literally thought I was like female version of the Bad News Bears. Like, that's where we're at right now. I remember Gordon picking me up from the airport and going to my first game, Grandpa Gigi, as we call him. And yeah, we played in front of empty crowds. We played in front of, 5 people, and those 5 people were our parents that came in to town for the day. We did our own marketing. Everything to get butts in the seats, you know what I mean? But trust me when I say that when this guy, he looks you in the face and he says he's going to do something, and he's going to do something better than it's ever been done before, you have a tendency to believe what he says. And I am proud to say today we have 5 thriving, successful professional softball teams. And I actually hear we have 6 now. So I'm very excited about that. We have a TV contract with CBS Sports, and we have a following. These women have hundreds of girls waiting in line all night just to get 15 seconds, a photograph, and just to talk to them. Most importantly, those little girls have strong women to look up to. And instead of dreaming to play for the Yankees, they get to dream to play for the USSSA Pride. And that, to me, is the biggest reward of all. I do want to say thank you to my family. My parents literally came straight from vacation. They cut it short. Barely made it, just in time to change. I look at my siblings and kind of my path through life, and honestly, it's a true testament to them because we're not doing the same thing, but we're all doing what we love to do. And to me, that's the true, that's parenting. They gave us the guidance, and it takes 2 really special people to make that happen. So I thank you. Grandma Judy's in the house. Hey, yo, with a great outfit. Not only is Grandma Judy here tonight, but she's been there through T-ball. She's been there through travel ball, making me turkey sandwiches on those double-header days, but also picked up and moved to Arizona when I became an athlete there. So I can't say thank you enough for you and for Grandpa and supporting me through the entire thing. USSSA, man, a lot of people don't get thanked on a daily basis, but there are so many people that I would like to thank, and I'm going to breeze through this, but the Loris, the Wendys, the TRs, the Gordon Paul, Jim, Bernie, Donnie, Andy, I mean, everyone. You guys don't get thanked enough, and honestly, the work that you do behind the scenes is crazy, you know? Lori plans every single thing down to every single detail. You're awesome. And I want to end appropriately by thanking my teammates. You guys should all be standing up here with me. And our league it's never been about one team, it's never been about one individual, although we really like to think it's all about the pride because, you know, we're the best team in the league. But the only thing that makes it work are the incredible women at these tables over here. If they didn't bring their passion to the field every single day, there wouldn't be a product. They have shaped me not only into the player that I am today, but to the person that I am today. And from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you to you guys. And to the rookies, the future of the USSSA Pride, I hope you are as proud to be a part of the legacy as I am. I hope you cherish your time here and continue leaving this team and this league better than you found it. I can't wait to come back for the next induction because I know there's going to be plenty of you up here. And lastly, I have to say thanks to Dawn again. You have truly allowed me to live out my dream long past when most have to retire. Thank you for letting me be part of this awesome family. And thank you again for this honor, and also congratulations to the other nominees. You guys are awesome. And go Pride.
Caitlin, it was always a pleasure to watch you play and really enjoyed getting to know you. And just congratulations.
So before we finish with Caitlin, she referenced there are a whole lot of her teammates here tonight. And just to say a few words on behalf of all of them, we're going to ask Megan Willis to come up.
Well, thought this was happening after everyone spoke. I don't know how you follow that. You obviously got Dawn to speak on your behalf. And how do you follow that? And you saw everything that she did. I think when you look at those videos, when you listen to every word that Dawn said and every word that Caitlin said, you just know how humble and how passionate and how grateful Caitlin is as a teammate, as an athlete, as a player. And I don't know, I mean, everyone out here today is connected in sports in some way, shape, or form. So I think you guys can all connect with Caitlin, and at some point you either had a teammate like her or you wish you had a teammate like her. And I'm just so fortunate that I had the opportunity to play with her for the past 6 seasons. She got to the Pride one season before us. If not, then I'd get to stand up with her and Kelly and be like, yeah, we started this. But instead, they did it, and they changed it in a year. They changed it. They made sure that they were going to be the Pride. This is what every team wanted to be like, and they bought into what Dawn said. And again, I think you guys all it's interesting, because you guys all get to have a different experience here with USSSA, as opposed to all of us that just play for the Pride in the summer. And we come in here and we're not quite sure what you guys talk about in your meetings, but I will tell you, when I feel that when I'm listening to these meetings, when Dawn says he's going to do something, like Caitlin said, my God, does he do it. And here we are, just so successful and giving us a dream and a passion. And Caitlin, if it wasn't for a player like Caitlin, I don't know that this team would be as successful as we are. I don't think that when we get to this program, you're not quite sure how to act as a professional athlete till you get here. Dawn treats us like that, and it's not just Dawn, it's the board. It's going out to dinner, it's meeting Danny here, Jim, Rick, you guys all treat us like professionals, and because of that, we play that role. But it's because of the example Caitlin set. I'm gonna speak for everyone on this team because we're sitting back there. I can hear everyone talk. And it's incredible. Every accolade that you have, everything that you've done for the sport, no one would know it. Because you don't do it for that. You do it for us, and you do it for the sport. And I think everyone here, like I said, can relate to that and appreciate that because, man, I think that's what we all want to be a little bit. So I can't say anything more because Dawn did it, and Caitlin had a great everything to say, and I'm so fortunate. I'm so fortunate to call you a teammate and a friend, and I'm just happy to have a professional softball athlete to be inducted, the first one. So thank you, USSSA. You're the best.
All right. Our third inductee tonight is in the executive category. He is from Seattle, Washington, and his name is Mr. Roger Wilson. And I would now ask everyone to once again turn their attention to the video screens so we can learn a little bit more about Roger's many contributions to the great game of softball.
Played all the sports up through high school. Went to college, played a little bit, and then went into the service and came home and got exposed to the USSSA shortly after that. I was running a softball tournament for my business. It was a restaurant and bar. And Joe Uha, the assistant state director at the time, came and tried to convince me to turn my tournament to USSSA. USSSA was very young at the time, had only been around for a year or two. And so I turned the tournament over in 1981. And in the next few years expanded to 4 or 5 tournaments and became involved with UTRIP as a men's program director and expanded the tournaments with a partner, Dave Newser, to 70 to 80 tournaments a year. And from that point on, in 1989, I became assistant state director and became more involved with the association. Well, without a doubt, Dick Calvo, who was the state director of Washington for over 30 years, he was kind of my mentor into this association. And for 25 years, we did everything together. I mean, every weekend we were at the ballpark. We went to every national convention, went to 15 or 16 men's world tournaments in a row, the major World Series. And without him, I don't know that I would have stayed involved as much as I did. I've been extremely fortunate to have been involved as much as I was in Washington. In 2002, Danny Brown asked me to become a vice president, which at the time was a tremendous honor. I'm not aware of anybody else that had never been a state director that was asked to serve as a position higher, so I took it on. I was very glad and excited to be a part of the continued growth. Well, it's certainly rewarding. I feel like I've accomplished an awful lot. It's not like that every player and every coach thinks that I've done that much for them. I mean, there's certainly a lot of people that don't appreciate and don't look at you that way, but it's like being a coach. You just need one of your players to come and say thank you for all you did for the year, and that makes up for the 11 or 12 that think you did it. It just happened without any involvement at all. So yeah, it's really rewarding, and I appreciate any time a coach or a player comes to me and says thanks. Probably the camaraderie with the other directors, and certainly I miss this national convention about as much as anything. I look forward every year to coming here and seeing the people that I've met over the years, but it certainly at my age, it gives me something to do, and it makes me feel like I'm not going to sit back and become a vegetable. I'm going to miss that. I'll replace it with something. My local golf club is probably going to hate me, but I'll organize something out there.
And now to tell us a little bit more about Roger, I'm pleased to introduce a man who has shared much of Roger's 35-year journey in softball with him, his dear friend, Mr. Dale McGregor.
Well, this is a real honor to introduce somebody that I've known for 35 years. The only thing I can say is he's got a lot of nerve asking me after calling me a little pissant for 35 years, but this ought to be fun. There's a few things I'd like to explain to you about Roger, how he got to where he is. I got to start with telling you that his wife, Marky, has been an outstanding teacher her entire career. He's got a brother, Brad, over here that's been a teacher for his career. Brad also was a teacher at the best school in the state of Washington, because that's the one I went to. Roger's very good with numbers and figures, and so everybody figured, well, that's what he's going to be as a teacher too, but no, he chose the life of being a bar owner. The first bar he buys and ran was called Goofy's. Now go figure that. No? He buys this van, puts Goofy's name on it, gets sued by Disney. This van, to this day, 35 years later, is still going to the tournament week after week after week. And Roger ran the wheels off that thing. About a month or two ago, he says to me, what am I going to do with that thing? It's just sitting in my driveway. And I said, well, you got Paul running your tournaments. Why don't you give it to him? So Paul thought, this is great. I'll take over this thing. Everybody will think I'm Mr. USSSA. Gave him the keys. He didn't realize that now got pedals, and he's got to pedal it to the park. Roger has done everything I think that a person could do in USSSA. He started out as a player, a coach, a sponsor, believe it or not, at one time an umpire. I don't know how he ever made that, but tournament director, Hall of Fame co-person. He ran every program we had out there and became a state director, assistant state director first, then a state director, VP. And along the way, he taught every one of us in our state one of the most important things. There's only we, there's never an I in anything you say, because you don't get anywhere by doing something by yourself. And it's something that he pushed with everybody in all these different programs that he has ran over these years. He has done a fantastic job in each one of them, and as he left and moved on to a next program, he made sure somebody was there to take over that program. A lot of you out there probably remember Patty and Joe. They were the beginning with USSSA in the state of Washington, and they just lost their home. It burned down at 80 years old. It's pretty bad when the two people walked out with the clothes on their back. That house that burnt down is where USSSA started, and that's where we held our meetings, in the basement of their house. Even back then, even Stroy and Kennison, a little kid would come and be running around the basement bugging us when we were trying to run meetings there. It didn't take Roger very long to convince Dick Kelville we needed to get out of there. They said, we need to find an office. We have ran a state office which is banned Monday through Thursday, every day of the year for the last about 28 to 30 years. It's an amazing thing. It's a way that they built the programs in our state, and it's when you start from the beginning, Rogers always walks in January 1st, gets a hold of teams, and he pushes and pushes. Who's going to Worlds this year? It doesn't start in July, it starts January 1. He says, if you want to go, I'll do anything I can to get you there, but you got to start making plans now. If you go to all the meetings that we've been going to throughout the week, you can see Washington up on the top. All the problems that other states have, we have been very proud, and Roger is probably the proudest to this day. We sent 60 teams to Worlds again this year, and that's not a person in our organization up there that could not be prouder of how many teams go to Worlds than Roger Wilson. There was many, many times that we thought things were going to slow down, but he would always figure out a way to get us going and get things back on track. And I can't tell you that there's not a person that bleeds USSSA more than this man. Everything that he's done throughout his career. There was one story that people asked me not to tell, but I was paid a lot of money this morning, so I'm going to tell it. Poor Rod. This goes back to many years ago when he played. And a lot of you probably have heard this, but it's such a good story, I had to share it with the ones of you that have not heard it. Roger played, and he was a pitcher. He pitched the ball inside, and the guy kind of looked at him, and as big as Roger is, he looks at him and says, "Don't look at me like that. You got a problem, come out here and talk to me." The guy said, "Well, throw another one like that, and I will." So what's he do? He throws the next one inside, hits the guy charges him out, and Roger reaches in his pocket, pulls out a gun, shoots him, and turns around, one down. Kids are crying. Parents are mad. His team's looking, "Roger, what'd you just do?" And the guy gets up, and it's an old school buddy. Roger had shot him with a starter's pistol. The umpire had left. I get a call from him and says, "I quit." I said, "Why?" And he says, "This Roger Wilson just shot somebody." So I called Raj and says, "I have to suspend you." And he says, "Why?" And I says, "Well, the umpire even quit." And he says, "Well, he wasn't any good anyway." There are a lot more stories I could tell you, but I think I would get in trouble. So I'm going to be very kind to my friend. So this is from the little pissant to the big pissant. Here's Roger.
Well, Dale was actually pretty kind. He had a lot of stories he could have told. And I got some stories here on him that I won't tell now. But first, I'd like to congratulate the other inductees this evening. I've followed most of the careers of them in USSSA with awe and admiration. And it's truly a humbling and tremendous honor to be included with each of you in tonight's festivities. My first national convention was in 1985, at which time I met Al and Frank Chacha, Danny Brown, Robert Boudreau, and many others. While attending the Hall of Fame banquet that year, I remember thinking what an honor it would be to someday be included into that select fraternity. Today, thankfully, I get to join that fraternity. I'm proud to have with me here tonight two of my nephews, Kyle and Corey, my brother Brad, my wife Marky. As Dale said, none of this would have happened for me in USSSA without her. Without her support through the years and her continued understanding and acceptance of the many weekends Each year that I was on the road involved with the continued growth of USSSA, I would not be standing here tonight. It was a standing joke between us that while I was gone, she would always wear a sign that said, "Thanks for asking, he's at the ball fields." I thank you, darling, and I love you very much, as I have for the 46 years that we have been together. You are my rock and all we do. Over the years, as so many others have stated, this night would never have been possible without the individuals that have worked with me through the years and who have made it possible for Washington USSSA to be one of the leaders across the country in a tremendous amount of categories. Dale, thanks for your support and friendship through the years. Without your help, Washington USSSA would not be what it is today, not to mention the success that you have been such a big part of in the continued growth of the World Championships in Florida. Dave Newser, we have had almost 35 years working together. You have been a major part of any success that either I or Washington USSSA have had over the years. An individual that's not here with us tonight, I'd like to mention, he was very influential in my growth within USSSA. That's Dick Calvo. He was the Washington State Director for over 30 years and a member of the USSSA National Hall of Fame. Over the years, we were inseparable. And with his leadership and encouragement, not only did Washington USSSA get recognized as one of the best programs in the country, I was able to grow as an individual and become what I hope today is a better person. I don't have very much here. I'll be done. Stroyan Kennison. Stroyan's in the process of taking over as the State Director of Washington USSSA and has and always will be a critical part of the future success of not just Washington USSSA, but the national scene as well. To the others from Washington that are here with us tonight, my sincerest thanks for all you have done for me and for Washington USSSA to make it what it is today. Looking back over my life, there are a few times that stand out above all others. Unfortunately, one of them is the day as a struggling child, and as such, making a child's mistake. I stole a baseball from the boys' club. My brother Brad, who traveled down here, decided that in my best interest, he'd turn me in, which he did, and I thank you for that, Brad. It's made me a better person, but you will pay for it. The day I left for, and more than anything, the day I came home from Vietnam, the day I opened my first business, and the day I married my wife. Today will definitely be one more of those special days. In closing, I want to thank USSSA for all of the memories and friends that I've made over the years. I've traveled to numerous places that I never would have seen. I've met individuals from around the country that have become my very good friends. And I have had my life enriched many times over through the work that I have done in support of this association. To all of you, I wish you the very best the rest of this evening. And above all, enjoy every day that each of us have left. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up on our agenda tonight is the presentation of the 2015 Assistant Executive Director Awards. To present the first of these awards, it is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Danny Brown, Assistant Executive Director of USSSA.
Thank you. We as board members and/or administrators of USSSA always talk about and preach teamwork. Easily said, easy to agree to, but not always easy to implement. To review a few ingredients of teamwork, usually there are two or more individuals who must establish a goal and a roadmap to achieve that goal. At all times, respect other members, make sacrifices, and place your ego in your back pocket. This year's recipients define what teamwork is all about. They established a goal and roadmap to achieve that end. They showed respect for the team of directors and participants, and did they ever sacrifice their time and ego? When they talk, they use the words such as we, us, or the team. And once, I do not remember hearing I or me. I mentioned roadmap. In this case, as part of the goal, our recipients started working on their assignment 6 months in advance, recruiting additional team members for various duties necessary for the success of their project. Both volunteers and paid staff were needed. I mentioned sacrifice earlier to reach the team's goal. They needed to be away from home some 1,200 miles for 3 consecutive weekends. Add in the 5 days arriving prior to the first weekend, they were away from home 23 plus days. Some may say any sane individual might do this project one time, but our recipients just completed their 3rd consecutive year of this event. You haven't surmised what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the September Slow Pitch World Series tournaments held at Disney and surrounding parks. Men's C, D, E, and women's B, C, and D, a total of 619 teams, with an additional 53 teams over the Men's and Women's World Series and Men's A World, even though technically not their tournaments, they must coordinate their fields of play. The 619 teams equate to just over 9,000 participants over 3 weekends, not counting any family or friends that show. From bracketing the teams for each tournament, to coordinating and staging each manager's meeting, to reviewing all rosters and taking care of some issues, to TDing or assigning the field directors to the actual event. Then, of course, there's rain, the rescheduling of the events or the tournaments during the rain. During this period, their customer service was superb, firm, but fair. In addition, they established a great rapport and working relationship with the Disney staff. With the last out on the 3rd weekend, many would think this is finally over. Not with this team. A World Tournament written report soon follows the completion of all events with the positives, the negatives, and recommendations for the following year. There are many team members who make our outstanding September events work for USSSA. Some have been previously recognized, including the national staff. But tonight, we are recognizing the World Tournament Director and his 2 right-hand men. These 3 individuals are owed a great deal of gratitude for their dedicated service to USSSA. Please welcome your 2015 Assistant Executive Director recipients, Mr. Gary Godden, Mr. John D. Megas-Trace, I'm sorry, Joe D. or G, and Bob Reed. Would you please come up? I practiced John's pronunciation for 3 days. I'm not sure every family member has it right.
Just say Demo. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
This is a great honor in that, first of all, I'd like to thank Don. He gave us the chance. I think it's running pretty good. Wendy, I guess I can't quit now. I've been threatening her all week, but I guess I'm stuck doing this for a year or 2 more, huh? Yeah, Bob, John, and I, we've been together now over 20 years doing stuff in New York State. But we do have to thank a few other people. It's not just us. The biggest person we got to thank, Neil Swanner. Without you, none of us would have any clue what we're doing. You taught us well, appreciate everything. Can't say enough about just this ability that you had to run these tournaments and still do it in many places. And again, thank you very, very much for making sure we were ready. National office staff and that, fantastic people, love coming down. It makes our job so much easier, being able to go out and do things and give us the free rein and make some decisions on our own. From Don's side, all he tells me is, I don't want no phone calls. I don't want no shit, just get it done. From the umpire side, Dale, you're not up here with us, but you're the fourth one with the uniform on every weekend when we go. Anybody didn't see us Thursday, we're at the World Series. Don gave us shirts, said he wants to make sure that everybody knows who we are. Every one of us walked out of our room Thursday with the same shirt on. Don't know how it happened. We didn't talk to each other, but we all had the same exact shirt on. So Dale, Rick Robertson, all the umpires that are out there, and I can't say enough about the volunteers. We're out there having fun, enjoying ourselves for the most part, but you do have to put up with stuff if anybody's put up with tournaments and that. So from my side, I'd like to thank everybody that makes this possible for me and my staff, and we look forward to doing it for many more years. Thank you.
And now to present the second 2015 Assistant Executive Director Award, I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Jim Swint, Assistant Executive Director of USSSA.
As this is the last time that I will be making this presentation of this award, I'm going to deviate just a little bit, and I'm going to ask several people to please stand up, stay standing until I've had a few things to say, then I'll tell you you can sit down. Craig Scriven, Donnie DeDonatis, Bill Dow, Jeremy McDowell, Bob Ager, Frank Griffin, and Matt Trebuchon. These are the past recipients that I have selected and presented this award to as Assistant Executive Director. I'm very proud of each and every one of them and all of the things that they have accomplished in USSSA. And I would say to all of you out there, take a look. They are a who's who of the movers and shakers of the future of USSSA, and I would expect no less from this year's recipient. You can sit down. But thank you to each and every one of you. As I thought about 2015, I realized that sometimes there's a person who goes about their business, is fairly low-key, doesn't cause a lot of waves, doesn't have a tremendous amount to say, and as a result, their contributions to USSSA are often overlooked. They are, as we say, someone who slips under the radar. The recipient for this year's Assistant Executive Director Award started as a tournament director back in 1999 and worked his way up to be appointed a state director in 2002. At the convention in 2002, he was named one of the Rookies of the Year, taking his state registrations from 700 to nearly 2,000 in 4 years. He was named a USSSA State Director of the Year award in the 2006 convention. In 2007, he was named a vice president for his sport. In 2008, he took over the team classifications and management for 2 additional states that now have over 6,000 team registrations. 15,000 teams annually playing in tournaments, and 60-plus USSSA directors that he supervises, coordinates their tournament schedules, and that, as people are in the field know, is no easy task. Just this past year, he has been instrumental as a vice president in helping directors to develop an understanding of the online system, to increase participation, trying to get everyone on board to use the system. That also is no easy task. One of the reasons I'm stepping down. In 2015, he was named Senior Vice President of Director Development and will now serve USSSA in all sports, helping develop new and current directors and helping them learn to manage and grow their programs and take advantage of the awesome new website and all of the awesome new things with the online system. I'm guessing that many of you have now figured out who I'm presenting, but I know there are plenty of people out there that still do not know. The final giveaway is when I asked for some background material, and his brother said, quote, "He has the right personality to balance out my pissy attitude." Being someone who is in their office a good amount of time, I could not agree more. I present to you the 2015 USSSA Assistant Executive Director Award to someone who is well-deserving and long overdue, my friend Wally Fortuna.
First, I'd like to congratulate and thank Don for everything he's done for USSSA baseball. I'd also like to congratulate Jim for being the one person that got the baseball program started. I'd like to thank Joey Odom and Rick Fortuna for the opportunity. And I'd also like to congratulate all the state directors, all the tournament directors, all the facility owners for making USSSA the largest multi-sport organization in the world. Good job, and let's keep it up. Thank you, guys.
Our fourth inductee into the Hall of Fame tonight is in the male player category. He is Mr. Wendell Ricard. Back in 1999, I had the honor to introduce Wendell as the MVP of the 1999 USSSA World Series. It was a very unique World Series. It's the only one that was ever played in Cocoa, Florida. It was played there because of a huge hurricane that had hit Daytona Beach just a couple of days before, and it was a real question if we were going to be able to get a World Series done that year, but we did. It's also the only World Series I'm aware of where the MVP award actually went to someone who wasn't on the winning team. Wendell's Lighthouse squad finished second to R&D Easton that year. but he had such an incredible World Series. I think he made one out in the series, and I think only 2 of his hits weren't home runs, that it was very hard to imagine anyone else getting that MVP. So for those of you who know Wendell, he is a giant of a man, but is an incredibly gentle soul, and he hits a softball farther than pretty much anyone I've ever seen. Unfortunately, due to an illness in his family, Wendell was unable to be here with us this evening. He does express his extreme gratitude for the recognition and pride in being part of the USSSA Hall of Fame. So please join me in a round of applause to congratulate Wendell Ricard. Our 5th inductee tonight is in the manager category, and he is Mr. Wayne Williamson. Unfortunately, due to some late arising other commitments, Wayne was also unable to join us this evening. Many of you, I'm sure, know Wayne and know the great teams that he put on the field back in the World Series in the 80s and early 90s. So a man who put a lot of pride and a lot of effort into building some of the great teams that formed the foundation of this great organization. So we congratulate Wayne. And again, please join me in congratulating him on his induction. Our 6th inductee tonight is in the director category. He hails from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and he is Mr. Bert Frederick. Now let's all turn our attention to the video screens to learn more about the many ways Bert has contributed to USSSA and to the game of softball over the years.
When I was young, I loved to play basketball, and that was really my sport of choice. And so I played a lot of basketball when I was very young, and in high school I also played for the varsity sports. So that's really where my sports career started. We just loved to compete, and you know, that's where all your friends were. So, you know, social-wise, you wanted to be with your friends and you wanted to compete. And, you know, winning was always a major part of everything. So that's what really drew me to sports to begin with. And when I first started playing softball, first I was on a team that wasn't very well organized. So I decided, well, maybe I need to coach, because the coach wasn't coaching. And from there I got on the league board, and then from the league board I became an area director, and that's kind of just went. That's where it all started, and that's where it's at now. What I like to see is an organized event. And I surround myself with a lot of guys that really know what they're doing. And the best part for me is when the game's scheduled at midnight, it goes off at midnight, and the officiating is done well, and all the awards, and it comes off without a hitch, and that's what really makes me happy whenever I'm doing this stuff for USSSA. Well, I think we put the numbers up, and pretty much we're all USSSA state. There's no other organizations there. I'm really proud that that's where we're at this point in time in New Mexico, and putting up the numbers and hosting a tournament called the Whole Enchilada, which is a pretty big draw for everybody. We're real proud of that event, and I'm just real proud of our directors and all the numbers they put up. Now we've got baseball and fast pitch, and they're just going great guns all across the state. I just can't imagine being without USSSA or going to tournaments and not being a part of it. It's very special. It is just like what you say, family, and it's, you have your fights here and there, but most of the time it's just fun. And we just have a great time with everybody, especially here at the national meeting. Well, for me personally, I don't look at it as me. I look at it as our team from New Mexico. I have some of the best directors in the nation, I feel. We're all kind of like family. We all get together and we all have fun with it. So this is actually an award for New Mexico. It's not myself. I'm humbled, and I'm very grateful about having the award, but this is really for our state.
And now to tell us a little bit more about Bert, I am very pleased to introduce his son, Mr. Bill Frederick.
Well, for those of you that know my dad, you know that having fun is probably the thing that he likes to do more than anything else. I see a lot of fun meter pins out there. And in elementary school, I was running around with pens and pencils that said USSSA, Bert, Fun, Frederick. Being involved with USSSA has afforded him the opportunity to have lots of fun. And it's with me as well. I was a kid growing up. I was the one tumbling in the dirt at the ball field and going to different tournaments and seeing different places with him. And it was something that I loved to do. In my entire life, he's been involved with USSSA. He mentioned in the video that he was area director of Las Cruces for USSSA. That was in 1982. At the time, it was ASA in Las Cruces. But my dad kind of led a grassroots movement to get it switched over to USSSA. And that vote came in 1987. All the coaches got together and voted. And the vote was 88-1 to switch to USSSA. And that was all because of him. Cities around saw the success that USSSA was having and what people were doing and what he was doing. And one by one, they followed suit. And present day now, there are no competitors in New Mexico. It is exclusively USSSA. He was named the state director of New Mexico in 2003, and he's had lots of awards and honors for the things that he's done. But what I wanted to focus on today, and in speaking with all of you, is the whole enchilada softball tournament, because I think that captures his spirit more than anything else. For those of you that have been involved with it or have been to it in Las Cruces, New Mexico, it is a spectacle. And it started off humble. It started off as a 14-team women's tournament. It was called the Jerry Gomez Memorial Tournament. Jerry Gomez was a teammate and friend of my dad's when he played, and he was tragically killed in an auto accident. And he left behind a wife that was 7 months pregnant. So my dad started a tournament. He started a benefit tournament from him. It's the first weekend in October, and it has grown and grown and grown. Now it is routinely 265 teams that are involved in play with a wait list of 70 to 80 teams. And I said earlier it's a spectacle, and it is. If you've ever seen it, it's as far as you can see in Las Cruces where the fields are at. It's just tents and cars and RVs, people hanging out, cooking out. There's DJs, people tailgating, and it's a great event. That event really captures who he is. I said earlier it was 265 teams, and there's only 11 fields in Las Cruces, so you have to find a way to accommodate that many teams. So the first pitch kept getting pushed earlier and earlier, and now what's unique about this tournament is the first pitch is at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and teams play all the way through. So your first game could be at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something like that, and that works better for some teams than it does for others. A few years back, I remember there was this team from out of state, and teams come from all sorts of states, all sorts of places to be here. But there was a men's team from out of state, and they had one of those games, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. start time. And they came in, and they met up with a women's team, a local team from Las Cruces. They were tailgating and having a great time, probably having a little bit too much fun in the parking lot before their game started. And when it came time for the men's team's game to start, they came out. A few of them came out. And they came up to my dad, and they said, "Bert, we don't have enough guys that are going to be able to play. We're going to have to forfeit. We had a great time. We'll see you next year, but we can't play." And so my dad said, "Well, I'm sorry. I'm glad you guys are having fun, and we'll see you next year." And so they said, "Okay, Bert, okay." And they walk off, and they get a few feet away, and then they start rolling around in the dirt. And my dad goes up to him, and he says, what are you guys doing?" And they said, "Well, our wives have to at least think that we played." I share that with you all because that type of story, that type of thing really captures what that weekend's all about. The Las Cruces Visitors Bureau did an economic study on that tournament. They estimate that brings in $3 million to the city of Las Cruces just that weekend. But things like that is what makes that tournament special, numbers aside. It's the fun things like that that make it special, and that captures the spirit of the tournament and the spirit of my dad and how he operates and how he does things. And so, Dad, it's easy to get up here and say that you've had this success because you're a great leader. Really, though, that's understating it, because what you are, and I think everyone that knows you knows that you are a legend for USSSA and a legend for the state of New Mexico. So on behalf of our family that's here, and on behalf of everyone that's worked with you and that knows you, we couldn't be more proud. Congratulations, you definitely earned this. So. And speaking of fun and fun meters, Kevin's going to get up here and say a few words also. So.
I don't think it's been explained what fun means, so I'm going to kind of give you a visual. N means nagly. So you can do the math. I just want to ask the other 50 states that I represent to allow me to just be a little biased tonight. It is my home state. He's a dear friend of mine. We live 6 hours apart, but we're extremely close. I can't tell you how much he means to me. I don't think personally I'd be standing here representing the organization in the position that I'm in if it weren't for a guy like him and several other people that I have. Now, we go from 60 to 0, but I'm going to tell you what, this guy, what he does in our state is phenomenal. And as Billy mentioned, we have no competition. He has completely eliminated everybody. And if I had 50 more people like him, except in the month of September, y'all all know what I'm talking about, I would have thousands of these guys. He's very special to me. He's very special to my family. He's very special to our people that are here from New Mexico. I mean, as y'all can probably tell, we have a lot of our area directors represented from all four corners of the state. And this is truly an exciting night for us. And Bert, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Bert Frederick.
Y'all need to settle down. I haven't been able to be down there partaking in the stuff you've been doing, so hopefully you'll still be able to a little bit later tonight. First of all, thank you, and thanks to the selection committee. Really appreciate it, and congratulations to all tonight's inductees. Lisa, well deserved. I remember you, but you probably don't remember me because I was watching. Roger and Caitlin. They all well-deserved awards. As you've heard, I'm from New Mexico. I'd like to tell you, first of all, it's not new, and it's not Mexico. The most controversial question we got in our state is red or green. If you don't know what that is, then ask some of these New Mexico people, they'll let you know. I'm humbled by this award, and it's a great honor, but I would be remiss if I did not give the credit to where credit's due. I have the pleasure of serving with a team of directors and umpires from New Mexico that I consider close family. Those directors and umpires have passion for the program, have fun while providing quality programs for our state. Many have traveled here tonight to join myself, you already heard them, and join myself for this honor, which I share with them, because really it's your guys too. Thank you for coming, and you know I love you all. I also have many family and friends who have traveled far and taken time out of their busy schedules to join us tonight. I'm really proud to have my dad, Bert Sr., his wife, Ann, my sister, Tina, and her husband, Mike Lutz from Las Cruces, and Bill and his girlfriend, Stephanie, which they reside in Indianapolis, and he's a lawyer, a prosecutor for the city of Indianapolis, which you probably could tell by the way he can speak compared to me. I thank you guys also for being here. Also, I got so many friends out there that if I start to try and list you, I'll forget somebody, and well, I'll be in trouble later. And first of all, I would never want to hurt your feelings, but you know who you are. I'd also like to recognize my beautiful wife, Letty, for being with me on my many trips and to tournaments and meetings, not only in New Mexico, but all over the nation. We've had a lot of fun, haven't we? I especially want to thank Kevin Nagley, who's pretty much believed in and supported me for the past 38 years. Even though he lied when he asked me to become the state director in New Mexico, he told me that job was easy. And some of you out there, he's probably told the same thing, and that's why you're directors also, and maybe thinking second thoughts about that. Throughout the years, a lot of people actually have mistaken Kevin and myself as the same person. I need to clarify that tonight. I'm the handsome one. I'm the more sober one. And I can always find my room at the end of the night. But truly, Kevin, I do love you as a brother, but I had to let that out. I'm sorry. Because you spoke more kindly than I thought you were. I was prepared. We do have one thing in common. Our wives have both banned us from drinking Jägermeister. They say it turns us into the devil. I don't believe that, Kevin, do you? In closing, I'd like to make one point to all you directors. No matter what sport you direct, what you do is honorable. You're creating millions of recreational opportunities for adults and kids all over the nation. Be proud of that and stand tall and live by these words if you can. If it's fun, let's do it. Thanks again for this recognition and to all who made it possible. Thank you all very much.
Nice job, sir. It wasn't that bad, was it? No, that's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to reintroduce the Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer of USSSA, Mr. Don DiDonatis, for the presentation of the 2015 E.A. Ramsey CEO Award.
Thank you. This final award of the evening is the E.A. Ramsey CEO Commitment to Excellence Award. This award is presented by the CEO to any individual that has provided outstanding service above and beyond the call of duty to USSSA or national headquarters. This person must have assisted the CEO or national headquarters with a special project or to help develop new technologies and ideas that have significant impact on the way USSSA does business, and one who exemplifies leadership and teamwork. This year we have two. With the expanding and ever-evolving specialty programs within the association, the time was right for this person to step up and take his love of the game to a whole new level. His creativity, level of detail, and 24/7 commitment to getting it done, whether it be on the field or in the office, or dealing with many of the obstacles that arise in a new program. And just some of the things that drive this person to be his involvement. He's assisting his national headquarters began in 2008 when he became the tournament director for the Elite World Series, and has then been awarded as the title of Senior Vice President of National Events, a title well-deserved but not easily managed. He's respected for his thinking out of the box, but in his dressing, it's out of this world. And he gets the most attention where he gets the most attention and recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, the first recipient of the 2015 E.A. Ramsey CEO Commitment to Excellence Award goes to Matt Trebuchan.
You know, I stood up here last year and received Jim's Assistant Executive Director Award, and I thanked all the people in the baseball community, and I thanked all the board members. I stood up here the year before that and received this exact same award from Dawn, and I think I thanked everybody on the board. I thanked everybody in the baseball community. Tonight I'm going to thank the most important person in the world, my wife, Melissa, because without her, this would never have happened. In December of 2003, Joey Odom traveled to Atlanta, Georgia, and interviewed me for a state director's job and gave me that job. And I went home and I told my wife what my new job was. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And she told me, she said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1 year. You do this for 1 year, and if it works out, okay. 6 months later, well, it's history. She came in and she said, this is incredible. I don't believe it, but it's incredible. So, sweetheart, to you, thank you for putting up with me for 17 years. I love you, and the best is yet to come. Thank you.
This gentleman I met in 2008 when his team joined Conference USSSA. His insight and his opinion freely offered at coaches' meetings made him someone to listen and someone to reckon with. He took that drive and determination and turned it towards his state program, and shortly after that became the assistant state director, then eventually state director, and now has just been appointed as one of the region vice presidents of the Western Division. The rest is history. He assists national headquarters, overseeing many of the conference events, as well as directing the Men's Major World Series with little instruction but much responsibility. He doesn't just focus on the men's program, he has been instrumental in the resurgence of the Women's Major World Series and also serves as a liaison for me with all the Big League Dreams facilities. It's a true statement to working your way up the ladder and a commitment to this organization. His multi-sport vision has not gone unnoticed. I'm sure he will be tweeting and posting Instagram photos of this honor just about a minute after he gets it. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of this award, Elliot Clark.
All right, first of all, I would just want to thank the theme of the night. It's a family. It's everyone from the office to our states, the teams we build. You know, I had a couple people, I'm not going to go on, but I do have a couple people that when I started early, Doug Stark taught me the ins and outs. Don Cooper kind of got me excited about upper level ball, the conference, how that works. Danny Brown and Kevin have been, a phone call away probably too many days. Some days they probably get sick of my calls. But I just try to absorb and learn from all those guys, and now dealing with Don on a daily basis, it's been nothing but pleasure and real excitement for the future of multi-sport and where we're going with all this. And again, I want to thank the whole office staff, Wendy, Lori, Stacy, Angie, TR, everything you do for us. It's just a big family. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm glad I could help, and I hope everyone has a great night. And before I walk away, I do want to say one last thing, and that's to Jim Swint. Jim only lives 6-7 miles from me sometimes of the year in Arizona. And he's been a great mentor as well, and we're going to miss him. So thank you. Good night.
Now, we're going to introduce the 2016 Hall of Fame class. They'll be inducted next year in Sanibel Island, Florida, on this weekend. In the male category, first professional baseball player inducted into the USSSA Hall of Fame from Kansas. We have his jersey in our Hall of Fame right now. He played USSSA in its first year. From the city of Kansas, he signed with the Toronto Blue Jays, pitched 10 years, Sean Markham. Speaking of pitchers, I think the best female pitcher that ever played the game Kat Osterman. Male category, pretty proud of this guy. Been watching for many years. He's done it his way. He plays hard. Don DiDonatis III. Director category, great state of Arkansas, Billy Lee Yarborough. Manager category, from Ohio, Doug Reed. Male category, B.J. Falk, North Carolina. The manufacturers category, Pat Ryan from Wilson D. Marini and Wilson now, from Illinois. Umpire category for Michigan, Elliot Butch Parnes. Sponsor category from Indiana, both gentlemen, Jerry Backman and Herb Price. That's your class for 2016 to be inducted in the Hall of Fame in Sanibel Island. Congratulations, and we'll see you next year.
So before we conclude the evening, a few announcements and a few thank yous that I want to make sure and hand out. First of all, tonight's Hall of Fame banquet and this entire week wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So let me just ask you to join me in thanking them once again as I read out their names. We'd like to thank the Columbus, Indiana Visitors Center, Crown Awards, Diamond Sports, Easton Sports, Epic Insurance, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jostens, the Lee County Sports Authority, Lexington County Recreation, Louisiana Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, the Overland Park CVB, the Panama City Beach CVB, Aiken, Myrtle Beach, and Rock Hill, South Carolina, Visit Kingsport, Visit Las Cruces, and Worth Sports. So thank you to all of our sponsors for all your support. Also, you've heard some of them mentioned tonight during the various speeches, but everything that goes on this week and throughout the year wouldn't be possible without the incredible support of the USSSA staff. And so let me just send special thanks to the members of that staff who are here with us: Kristen Bedard, Kelly Burke, T.R. Brockwell, Wendy Brockwell, Jackie Algieri, Steve Saluch, Bernie Gunther, Stacy Hobbs, Tom O'Hara, Paul O'Leary, Andy Purcell, Sabrina Saunders, Dan Stone, Stephanie Taylor, and last but not least, Lori Timmons. Please join me in congratulating them. We've also been assisted tonight by 3 Sergeant-at-Arms, Billy D. Austin, Troy Mickelson, and Eddie Dunn. Thank you, gentlemen, for your service. As you heard Don mention, next year's National Convention and Hall of Fame ceremony will take place at the Sanibel Harbor Resort and Spa in Sanibel Island, Florida. That'll be from November 13th to the 19th, so I certainly look forward to seeing all of you there. And also make sure and mark your calendars for the following year. The 50th anniversary convention in 2017 will be at the Hilton Daytona Beach. I also, once again, would just like to recommend all of the inductees and all of the other Hall of Famers who are here with us tonight that there will be a reception following tonight's event up on the top floor in the Eagle View Ballroom. And now let me once again introduce to you Don DiDonatis.
I think we got to give an applause here to Jeff Brown. What an amazing job this gentleman does. Let's give him a standing ovation. I stand here before you right now to close this evening reflecting on an amazing year and only beginning to imagine what the future will bring. With a brighter look to the year ahead, I'm excited and ready to take on the challenges it will bring and ask each of you to join and pledge to do the same. With each Hall of Fame induction, I see the rich history of USSSA unfold and the growth and experience of our association spread across the nation. I continue to be humbled by your trust and dedication to the vision that began 48 years ago, and I look forward to what each new day will bring. Thank you for joining us tonight, and may be the first to wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. Thank you very much.
So that does conclude